Good afternoon and welcome to Beyond the Lines podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Watson, and there's this light shining in on us. Look at that. It's 5 o'clock, so that's where the light's coming. We're doing a special Saturday edition because I'm feeling froggy. I'm going to get it off my chest. And so welcome. If you are watching this on the replay, please like and subscribe. And let's just jump right in. A lot going on, like we always like to say. And I hope this should be streaming to YouTube, Rumble, and X. But I just got a little notice that X was having difficulty, so I'm not sure if they still are or not. So welcome. We usually do the show about once a week ish. So I hope this isn't too distracting here. So we're with Iran, Epstein, Governor Newsom. It was just discovered that he has been paying through taxpayer funds people to protest, millions of dollars to protest. A lot going on. So again, thank you for joining us. So it's something that prompted this topic today. We'll get into a little Hag Watch. A little Hag Watch never hurt anybody. And also, I came across hold on. Let me just back up a second about media literacy. So media literacy is a topic that came up through maybe it was a couple years ago. I know Mike Benz has talked about media literacy. We've gone over it before as an idea, okay, as a concept, but then also as a funded sort of educational piece that is basically, related to censorship. It can go both ways, right? So when you're teaching kids, is this that distracting? Is this that terrible? No, there we go. So when you're teaching kids about media literacy in school, and you're only giving them the approved sources, that they can this is okay, but this source isn't okay, right? You're really you're giving the impression that you're doing media literacy and responsible journalism, that sort of a thing, but you're really just creating a situation where you're dismissing possible good information, right? And this is what we saw so overtly in 2020, 2021, continued there online with online censorship. So media literacy is actually really important. But it depends on, I suppose, who's saying it and who's controlling the information, right? And so sometimes in the information space here online, we can think that we're getting the full story, or we can think that we are doing our research, or that we're doing our due diligence, or that we're looking at all sides. There's actually a website called All Sides, and it's also used in school where it will show you it'll categorize different media sources based on to the right, far right, center, left, far left. And so that's an interesting one to go through and decide for yourself. So there was a point when people realized that the fake news, right? The fake news was a propaganda arm. And so people were drawn to the alternative space, the alternative information space. And so, but what that has done is that it has also then become its own media sphere, right? And so we still have to have discernment, but this is we're in season this whole saga, and it is 2026. So our discernment is ever challenged, and especially with AI and different ways that we can fall into different propaganda traps, we again have to continue to do our due diligence and continue to be on guard for fakes. And it used to be like the deep fakes, right? And now it's unfortunately the demise of the internet, and part of it is that people are going to question everything, right? They're going to question, is this real, right? Am I even seeing, can I even trust what I'm seeing digitally, and we would always say that you can really only trust what you can see with your own senses, right? Your empirical evidence. So I have always been interested in integrating the online space with real world life, because it can so easily become disconnected to a point of possible no return. So, I don't think that's my biggest concern, but there is much to be said for, well, if we see things online, how can we integrate them into our real life, as far as like, what is an actual problem? What's an actual issue? Is this something that I'm getting worked up about this thing that I'm seeing online, but really, how does that affect my life and my community, my family, that sort of a thing. And so, what is my skin in game when it comes to this information that I'm receiving online? And I think that that's why the MAGA movement has been so impactful, popular, and why Trump inevitably did win in 2024 is because it really was this mergence of real life, real of effects of what we were experiencing over a number of years. And it really merged this, again, practicality with policy and politics. So it had top-down elements, but it was also, it had these top-down elements, but it also had this grassroots virality to it, that people could speak to their own, real world experiences. Like, it wasn't some abstract activation for these ideas. Wouldn't this be nice? So we're contrasting that with the things that we're seeing from the Democrat Party messaging, the No Kings rally, the No ICE protest, the anti-ICE protests. We've talked about it before, gone into it a little bit on the Telegram channel, going into, well, what is the difference between being activated for something that affects you personally versus being activated for doing something that you think that you're doing on behalf, essentially, of somebody else. And so these are all the sort of things that I had been thinking about going into this story that we're going to talk about today. As you know, on this show and on the channel, the interest that I have in this phenomenon that we're seeing with the language that Heather Cox Richardson has been using, but that we're also seeing again at these protests, these anti-Trump protests, just a lot of the language coming out of the Democrat Party. So we'd like to track what the Democrat Party is doing, okay? Not because we have an oversight of what the Republican Party is doing, right? It's not that we haven't already looked at, again, what the establishment has done, but what now, the new Republican Party is up to, in the Trump era. So we look at politics as this sort of journey especially within the Trump era, because that's where we've been and that's where we are. And that's where we're going to be for the foreseeable future. So we understand it as an insurgency essentially, and not full on establishment, as we saw with the Biden administration, which was again, right, because there's an interrelated conflict, but with the Biden administration, this globalism versus nationalism, sovereignty of states, rights of countries, able to detach from the international banking system, globalism as a initiative, as an investment, as players in the game of it. These, again, war, as a means for control and population control and monetary control and resources and, global hegemony. And so we still consider the Biden administration as the establishment. Okay. There's people use the word like deep state or whatever, but it's just the ruling establishment. It's the uniparty, right? You can buy a senator for $10,000. It's AIPAC. It's lobbying groups, again, that have controlled policy, specifically in the United States for a long time. We look at and then Epstein as well has to do with the compromise and the ability to control people using this blackmail. And so those are some of the things that we're interested in, moving beyond, cleaning house, ending the corruption. And you can't end corruption all at once ish. And you can't clean it all up altogether. So it's a process, and MAGA got the idea. And there's also we're looking at what's in the information space, right? What's in the narrative space. And we're talking about Epstein. We're also talking about QAnon again, right? Because QAnon had to do with Pizzagate, but it also had to do with Epstein, trafficking, just this evil as well. So we go into a little bit about where we're seeing now Democrat voters, for lack of a better term, excited about, getting the pedophiles, right? Exposing this. Like, somebody has to go to jail for this. The Epstein list has now been released. Some people are talking about how Trump's on it, right? And even though the House and the Senate both passed the Epstein Transparency Act in November, Trump signed it immediately. People want to talk about the DOJ and Bondi and stuff, and that's a whole other thing, of course, relevant, but just not foundational. But we're hearing, we're just sort of wrapping around again now. So it seems as though people that you have the legacy media, you have people, just regular anti-Trump voters, people who are engaged in politics now saying we need to, take these people down, and so, you're seeing which is great, which is really good, and we're seeing Prince Andrew or King, whatever his name, the former Prince Andrew or whatever, he was just arrested, and people are like, oh, well, all these other people need to be arrested. Why was he the only person that has been arrested so far? And so the narrative is where it is. Public disclosure is where it is. And it would have been nice, all in the timing, however, it would have been nice for legacy media and regular people to get on board, then when everybody was talking about it. But here we are, 6 years later. So the content for today, I got to, the point that I was looking at is the point that I was trying to get at was that looking at Democrat Party messaging, and the Hag will talk about, Heather Cox Richardson, she'll talk about fascism, rising fascism, authoritarianism. They don't really use the word tyranny a ton. They do like dictatorship, dictator, Trump's a dictator stuff, right? The No Kings protest, right? So it's just interesting that it seemed like just everywhere that it's like fascism, like all of a sudden now this word has now just been injected into the everybody now. People are out there protesting against fascism, and we haven't even gone into like Antifa, but I was just listening to a really good XF live stream from when was it? October? I can't remember. I have to look at the date. Talking about the origin of Antifa as an organization and sort of how the trajectory, how it has changed over the years. And so people, we went into that whole thing. This was probably back in like October, when you had like people in Richardson's comment section saying like, I'm an anti-fascist. Are you not an anti-fascist? Well, that's if you're not an anti-fascist, that must make you a fascist. Just so this wasn't all for nothing. This isn't just because like, I'm harping on Democrats, or something, or I'm missing the fact that MAGA messaging, uses words as dog whistles too. So but because I think that it just seems as though there's quite a big disconnect between fascism and what it is that we're seeing today, but then also this response to it, this like agitated response to it. And it's just a bunch of fuckery. It's all a bunch of fuckery. Just tracking these people for so long, listening to their stories, their messaging, and it's just like, it doesn't bear any semblance of the reality. And I think it does such a disservice to regular people that are living their lives trying to make the best of everything. And it's dishonest, obviously. But my point is that it was brought to my attention that, well, MAGA messaging uses communism and socialism as a dog whistle too. Okay. I would argue that it's not the same, because you don't have people, you don't have an anti-communist movement like you have, and not that Antifa is a movement. That one kid, Kyle, what's his name, who claims to be Antifa, was just arrested on terrorist charges. I don't know where his story is now. So you had people, is it a noun? Is it an adjective? Antifa. And then Trump criminalized Antifa as an organization. And the hope is that it also attacks the funding sources of it as well, and which is like a Soros connected, right? We're not going to say, it's not just, when we say Soros, we don't just mean just him. We're talking about a network, and which we've gone into before. We're just trying to use just simple words here to just try and summarize, because these are all very nuanced, and all of these topics are worthy of their own long spending time with. So we're just trying to like get the message out with the words that we can quickly. But yeah, so Antifa was something we saw it a little bit more prominent at the time. I think it was like October. And then we had again like Richardson being like, I am Antifa, right? So, and then we saw it again more recently with the anti-ICE protests too. And so Antifa is not just, it's an organization. It's different facets, but it has evolved. And people use it as different things. And so just because you're not an anti-fascist doesn't mean that you're a fascist. But my point was that we're seeing overt anti-fascist rallies, right? We're seeing people actively out there. I'm trying to actually piece together the past here, because in 2020, Trump was going on, again in 2016. And so I sort of joined the party late in 2020. And so when we saw a lot of the rallies with people that were talking about, QAnon, or I'm using the word. Look at me. I'm saying QAnon now because that's what people are saying. I don't want to go into that. I'm using QAnon in the way that Democrats use the word, as in like the conspiracy theory, like how they define it. Okay. And if you look at like Savannah Guthrie, I'm still talking about her mom. Savannah Guthrie interviewed President Trump at the time he was candidate Trump. And she said, like, do you know what QAnon is? QAnon is this conspiracy that there's this deep state cabal that, eats babies or whatever. She said, I'm on YouTube. God, I don't even know. And whatever his answer was. And so QAnon was coined by the media to discredit Q and to discredit people that were supporting Trump and who were, basically understanding this information online. So at the time of 2020 and people out there, I think Q was part of the messaging. I think you saw people that it was part of that messaging. And could you make the argument that there were shared tendencies between the messaging phenomenon that we saw then, or that happened then, versus what we're seeing now with the activation of the, people protesting the No Kings and ICE and, fighting against fascism. And that was my interest in just sort of putting those two against each other. And inevitably, I think it's not fair to do that for multiple reasons. But you could, on its surface, make that argument. But that's not the argument that this person who was presenting me with this information, with this YouTube video that or this content creator we're going to watch here, that's not the claim that they were trying to make. You can't take a video from 2020 and say, this is MAGA, and describe that as MAGA today. Okay. MAGA is a Big Tent coalition. It's not QAnon. MAGA is not QAnon. Okay. I know, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Okay. I'm sorry to disappoint you. and it is a movement. And we're still talking about this, dude, because I feel like I was saying some of these things years ago talking about MAGA, but let's keep going. So MAGA has evolved, okay, because Trump has evolved. The situation has evolved, okay, and so it's not correct to take sort of MAGA takes from a time and like sort of do like a gotcha or like it's the same now. Okay. Now, there are content creators out there who do shock value takes on what they consider to be MAGA, because the word MAGA is a heavily like charged word. It's used online. It gets people fired up. It's very divisive because they've made it so divisive over the years. People are super triggered by it. But it also, people that hate MAGA are drawn to content where they feel like MAGA is getting roasted. MAGA is getting roasted, or MAGA is getting, told off or whatever. Okay. So it doesn't, and maybe this is just me, but like, it doesn't make me feel good to watch videos of man on the streets interviewing these women. Like, we watched the video of that other hag, Jennifer Welch. She was playing a video of Caitlin Collins. Oh my God, Caitlin Collins. Caitlin Bennett, I think Bennett. She is the young woman who does the Liberty Hangout. So she does like a man on the street. And we've seen a number of her clips related to, why are you here? And like, but what is fascism? I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, and I don't mean to be, but we're just having to be a little bit specific. And so I feel like I'm repeating myself, trying to stay in context. So they were laughing. So Jennifer Welch was like laughing about this woman who was basically saying, like that she was happy that Charlie Kirk died. Right. So, and that doesn't bring me joy. Like I don't get joy out of like owning the libs or whatever you know what I mean? Like, I don't get, it doesn't make me feel good to see people out on the streets. Like, the reason I focus on this stuff and I care about it and I try to understand where people are coming from is because I think it's wrong. I think it's incorrect. And I don't like seeing people confused that way. And I don't like to see people motivated and activated and, weaponized empathy that way. So it doesn't bring me joy. I don't feel like it's like a gotcha. It's not fun for me to watch these videos. This girl, she has to get security because her life has been threatened. She has been attacked. Are these like people on the quote unquote other side? Are they being like physically threatened and attacked? So to me, just, she's doing work where she's uncovering information about people and about the Democrat Party movement and really where these narratives lie. And again, what motivates people and how people are being activated. We've been tracking the Hag, and she said, Richardson, she said back in like October, basically saying that white women need to put their bodies out there, in front, basically with ICE. And then look what happened. Right. So it seems that instead of being self-reflective, these ruling elites are doubling down in some ways, right? And we also saw that at the Munich conference when Newsom, he was given like transition integrity vibes. He was saying like, oh, and Trump's not going to be here in 3 years, and California is always going to be a great partner. California is always going to be available. We saw AOC put her foot in her mouth a few times. We saw Hillary Clinton out there trying to double down. So we're watching them double down. Okay. And so is it fair to say that communism and socialism are dog whistles for the so-called right? Yes, I think it's fair to say. And we've gone over that, there was a clip where they were trying to present Kamala Harris as like a Marxist, and, she doesn't do anything that makes her a Marxist. She's not, she's just a corrupt motherfucker, she's just, and a Satanist probably, just based on some of the claims related to her background of California. What is it? And the Fraternal Order of Police, and the college that she went to. So there's a lot of uncovering for y'all to do, I would say. So, but let's just get to the videotape. I've rambled on enough in 30 minutes now. So I hate to even platform this young man, but we're going to. Painful. It's so painful, bro. All right, here we go. The media literacy part of this is that we don't just take video clips that we see online and we just take it at face value. Like everything can be tracked back to like somewhere, like if you see a video that resonates with you, go back and see like when did that person start making content, right? What background does that person have? If they're doing political commentary, that's fine. Everybody's allowed to do political commentary, but I mean, are they somewhat transparent about their background? Like where have they come from? And that can tell the story about where they are today, where their biases lie. And you may say like, well, information is just, objective, and in some ways, right, 1 + 1 = 2, but oftentimes, the story has different sides, right? But the person that's telling the story and giving the information, the way they're framing it, I think it must be considerable within context. Okay, so let's go to share screen. Okay, this dude is so irrelevant that I didn't even know who he was. And not that matters, but like I just don't think he's actually quite relevant. Sorry, dude. Don't want to hurt your feelings. I mean, I'm clearly irrelevant, but I'm just saying I'm not trying to do what you're doing, So, okay. Okay. So I think what's also important is for me to, I think this dude's face should be bigger. Why is it? We're going to try again. There we go. Okay. So, first of all, there was a clip from 3 years ago that was shared with me. Like, oh, Mac here, and I can actually probably go to it. It was MAGA. Let me see. Oh my gosh. What?
I need breadcrumbs.
Can you please not bang on the door like that?
No. You didn't answer my question. I need breadcrumbs.
Yeah, they're up in the cupboard.
Where? You can't just say up in the cupboard, Mom.
Do y'all have teenagers? Do y'all have teenagers? A teenage son, perhaps? Okay. So if we go to, sorry about that disruption. Okay. I swear to you, they are quite self-absorbed. Let's just put it that way. They're super self-absorbed. God love them. God bless us. Bless them. Bless us for okay. So if we go back through, this guy doesn't have any kids, by the way. If we go back through his videos, and go back to like what he was doing back in the day, he's an actor. Let's just do that instead of we watch a video. Hold on, let's see if we can go to see, you can see these things like, and it could, so if we're comparing this with Liberty Hangout, like, you know, this is not in good faith, right? This is like, because he's trying to, are they pro-life or pro-birth? We pretended to be the Heritage Foundation, right? He goes around wearing a Trump hat, wearing like like he's trying, like he's specifically trying to engage with people. Oh, look at this with what's his face. We went to a Zoran's party. Okay. If you look up his information, it actually doesn't give much information about who he is. Hold on. Somebody's trying to say that YouTube's giving her a hard time. Yeah, I can put the Rumble link. Are people having a hard time with this? Are people having a hard time with this link? Here, we'll go like this. Thanks for hanging in, everybody. There we go. Whoop. Oh my God. That's so funny. That was me getting up. Dude, my kid, like the last time I did a show, my kid was texting me and asking me like, did you hear? Because something happened with his, doesn't matter, but something happened and it was fine. Okay. Anyway. Okay. So if you go to this person's, if you just look his name up online, okay, let's just do like a simple search or whatever. It basically doesn't give a lot of information about his backstory, about where he's from. I'm like really upping his SEO today because I've been trying to research this. It says that he's an actor, that he was born in New York City and has been active in the entertainment industry since 2006. He began his acting career with a role in the independent film LIE 2001 and appeared in Bomb the System 2002 and Law and Order SUV in 2008. He produced and starred in the web series Llama Cop in 2014. He creates satire, street interviews, and political pranks. Okay. So I think, yeah, his Wikipedia page basically shows that, there is no, it doesn't, Wikipedia does not have an article with this exact name. Anyway, it looks like he has gone out of his way to remove any information about himself, where he grew up or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying there are situations where it's hard to get to know where somebody's from, where it doesn't have all this information. But it is often strange for somebody to be a public figure like this and there be no information about them. So that's curious. I'm not surprised he's an actor, but like there's no information about him. So if he wants to educate people on political science, if he wants to actually talk about, things like communism, socialism, whatever, I would expect him to have some sort of familiarity with political science as an education or a craft or even experience in the field. But political commentary is the entertainment business, right? So that makes sense. But he doesn't have, we're not asking him to educate people on socialism and communism. We're not asking him to be like this education person. But I don't think that he's practicing in good faith compared to if we're making a comparison, right? Which is what we're doing. We're making a comparison between someone like Caitlin Bennett, who's doing Liberty Hangout, who's doing Man on the Street interviews, okay, versus someone like this who is doing gotchas, presenting themselves as like a Trump supporter, as MAGA, as someone who is friendly or whatever. And really, on one hand, we can't ensure that the content is insincere in the sense of like, is the MAGA person an actor also? And I would also say it's probably not hard to get a gotcha on somebody of this demographic. Trump supporters come in all shades and colors. And so I think that it is low hanging fruit. But I think that his intention is a little bit different than, again, Liberty Hangouts, if we're comparing the two. So his content is obviously, again, for shock value. Okay, so let's go to the first. Let's just go to a video. Well, this was the first. So I went back to like his, and you can too. You can go back to his videos and you would do this with anybody. Okay. Oh, you know what? I should play the walking. I'll play that in a minute. Okay. So here's his account. Okay. How many subscribers? Okay. So 518,000 subscribers. Okay. So you can go to oldest and you can see this is his TV film acting reel. Okay. From 12 years ago. Okay. Okay. So we can go all the way back to the beginning. This one, for example, is COVID nurse doesn't wear a mask. So, I mean, I think that if you're defending like what everybody went through at that time, like, where were you when, right? Where were you when? So I think this is, I'm not watching this, but DC MAGA rally and the liberals war on Christmas. Yeah, so it looks like he was oh, here's the other thing too, is that he was at J6 also. And he actually, his footage was actually also then used, but he got out of any charges or anything because he claimed that he was just there to document it and not participate. So let's hold on. Let's watch this real quick. Oh,
if your pet goes from weird to weirder, know where
so
to go.
weird that he
Veg,
interviewed
the better, kinder ER for pets.
Jacob Chant.
Show me the other side.
Hold the line, Patriots, because God wins.
Awesome, man.
For those of you that don't know who Q is the highest levels of the military and the intelligence community in the United States, disseminating above top secret information to patriots in our...
Okay. So, not sus at all. Not sus at all. So he's and now over here he's oh wait, War of the Worlds 2021 starring Mark Ruffalo. Okay. Trolling an anti-vax rally with Quentin Tarantino. Okay. So 4 years ago, he says that he was trolling an anti-vax rally. So let's just click on that real quick.
I'm a teacher.
What school?
Oh.
PS333.
Wait, so is he interviewing with CNN? Is that fake? Does that make her think that he's interviewing with CNN, that he is representing CNN? I didn't notice anything about his bio that said he was a CNN reporter. You know what I mean? If this is all a joke, then this is why no one knows who this person is. That's why nobody watches these videos and nobody knows who this is. That's why we're wasting our time. No, it's fine. It's all fine. Okay.
You're a teacher. You teach children.
Right. So he's wearing a mask. She's not wearing a mask. He's agitating her. Let's watch.
I do teach children. Is that?
I think it's.
Say that with a little bit of something in your voice.
Well, you're at an anti-vax rally.
I am not at an anti-vax rally.
This is an anti-vax rally.
This is a rally for freedom, and so
I think that's fucking bullshit.
I'm not anti-vax. I'm pro-choice. I've been pro-choice my whole life. This is about choice. It's my body. My sovereignty starts here. Research is research. You either know how to do research or you don't.
That's the problem, is everyone's looking at data and interpreting it from without a medical lens.
So you're into scientism. It's cool.
Scientism?
That's what I thought.
Scientism. What is scientism?
It is this idea that only the material world exists. This is it. If I can't touch it, it doesn't exist.
Peer review is scientism? Clinical trials, that's scientism?
I guess you went to public school.
She goes, I guess you went to public school. So she's trolling him, by the way, also too. But so he was a piece of shit. He's always been this way, I guess. That sucks.
Public school?
Did you go to public
You
school?
teach at a public school.
Yeah, I'm quitting because I can't take it. It's torture.
I think that's the right choice.
Yeah, I
I
know
think you're making a really good choice.
I am. Thank you.
Yeah.
But
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Go to the website you love.
He's just a dick, obviously. So this is what we're working with. Let's keep going, I guess. It's stupid. Gonna keep going with this chucklehead. Okay. So again, back to the oldest. I know this is ridiculous that we have to do this. We don't. I know we don't, but all right. So I went to My Pillow rally, so you don't have to. I don't think that there's ever been a My Pillow rally, but that's trolling a school board about critical race theory. Okay, hold on. Here's what we need to do. We need to stop. We need to stop sharing this, and we need to go to a different. I just want to play something real quick. related to if I can get to this clip that I wanted to play.
So it's like, yeah, Bernie Sanders.
Let's see if I can screen share this. So Joaquin and I did a podcast back in October. And so I clipped this from that. So the full episode is on the channel here, but let's watch this real quick. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys.
Message out. I would argue. So it's like, yeah, Bernie Sanders trying to say or rationalize, how come conservatives are better at getting their message out. I would argue that it's two things. Number one, it has to be funny, like it has to be entertaining to a lot of people, and humor is fundamentally subversive to power. So what makes something funny is that you're speaking truth to power. So, but that means that you are speaking truth to power, so that actually shows the real power dynamic. Like it actually shows who has the power, because you can't be funny and be a sycophant for power, right? Like there's nothing funny about that, right? And people get that immediately. It's like in our DNA, right? So, and the other part of it is that it's not that. So it's just that power dynamic. But what that means that that's the majority of people, right? So it's also not just that conservatives, whatever that means, are better at getting their message out. It means that there are more people that are receptive to that message because we are the majority. Like we are the majority. So once people put those pieces together, like the light goes on, and like once the light goes on, it's really hard to turn it off. So like.
Thank you, Joaquin. So all these shit videos are just more gaslighting. More gaslighting for us. Because you're not going to be popular going to troll people at an anti-vax rally. It's a medical like you have to be an absolute fucking moron to argue with everything that has already happened, what has brought everybody to today, and the Make America Healthy Again movement related in medical freedom. And I know that the medical freedom movement, the medical freedom as a movement has been, coined and intercepted and infiltrated and hijacked and all that stuff. Sure. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of grift going around. But to be such a piece of shit, to try and troll people like that. Okay, let's start being a little bit more generous. Okay. Yeah, I mean, okay, so now we've established that humor is subversive, okay, and that it speaks truth to power. But when you are the establishment and you're punching down, okay, it's not funny. When you're acting on behalf of the establishment and you're acting on behalf of power, it's not funny. That's why the left can't meme. But also, I think that it's why this comedian, he calls himself a comedian. This is one of his past live. So this was streamed 4 years ago. Here.
Research.
It's one of the places to start because they do tell the truth on
Here.
the CDC.
Okay.
What are some ways we can?
Did I hit play? Yeah. Yes, he's just being creepy. Okay. Oh my God, get to the point. What is happening?
Agenda. What are some ways we can stop the socialist agenda?
Oh, goodness. You know, we could start with those journals. Can we throw those out?
Journals?
Yes. Kids were started to journal about 30 years ago, and this was the government's way to keep an eye on our children is through these journals.
Someone writing in their diary is a way for the government to sort of, keep tabs on you.
Yes. So they would ask questions like, do you have a stepmother or a stepfather? Or do you have a microwave? Or do you have 2 bedrooms? And so they calculate these findings, and the more that they have that fit into the category, the more government funding that they get.
Oh.
So stop journaling, stop writing in your diary. What are some things we can get rid of in order to fight the socialist agenda?
Get rid of Amazon.
Get rid of Facebook.
Get rid of Facebook. Let's get rid of Netflix. Let's get rid of Hulu. I am a theorist, and I have a theory that the executive order was.
Okay, this is okay. You got okay. So this is too funny. So this is what I'm doing. I'm going through all of my old QAnon stuff. I've been through. There's so much footage that I overlooked, and I thought before I
his nails are painted
let me
black.
let me just
no
go over
judging,
this
but
and make sure there's nothing I missed. Sometimes I get back from these events, I'm really tired. There's key things that I think about in my head. The day I shot this, I was so tired. I was like, all right, I'm done. Okay. And I forgot about this woman at all. I was going through this.
Oh my God, he's
through all
so
this
fucking
footage
boring. I'm
today,
sorry
and I
if I'm
found
boring,
this, and I was
but,
like,
God.
this is the funniest thing. This is the absolute. This is ridiculous. Okay, I'm gonna play it again. It's ridiculous. We're doing a big whole thing on the socialist agenda. What are some ways we can stop the socialist agenda?
Oh, goodness. You know, we could start with those journals. Can we throw those out?
Journals?
Yes. Kids were
Why are we
started to
watching
journal
this
about
again?
30 years ago.
Why are
and
you
this was the
laughing like
government's
it's
way
the
to
first
keep an eye.
Why?
Sort of, keep tabs on you.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Get rid of Hulu.
Conversations and arguments about what is socialism? What is this? And I finally was like, I don't think they know what socialism is. I don't think they have a working idea. It's so funny. So yeah, I'm gonna block you if you don't stop.
Oh my God.
So yeah, so this is okay.
Sorry. The only thing more painful than watching him watch this is having to watch me watch him watch this. So I apologize. This is. I just am giving you a little taste of it. Okay, we're just doing a little taste. Just a little taste. You're gonna need some mouthwash. So let's go back to the sorry, we're going to go back. Oh, okay. So let's go to some of his recent videos. So his latest is they came to recruit children. Oh, this is when he was calling out a Patriot Front group, which
even this bag
I think everybody's an actor
isn't really clean. Just a few minutes with the puree produce, and this is what came off.
I have had sex with a woman. One sex, please. Is that how you do it? Yeah. What's your body count? 6 million. Body count? Body count? Well, here it's legally touched a vagina. Oh, yes, we're running now. Run, run, run. I mean, if you're here, then where's ICE? Behold the master race, everyone. You know why you only see us during the daytime? Because we have to get home to dinner. My mom was like, oh, you have to go to dinner now. You can't pause an online game. That's not how that works, Mom. Everyone get in the U-Haul. Everyone get in the U-Haul, yes. Yeah, good boy. Everyone get in the U-Haul. We're gonna do the clown car. It's the clown car, everyone. The banner says, I have never touched a vagina. Legally. I kissed a woman once. I showed her my Tamagotchi collection. And I said, one sex, please. She undressed right in the middle of Dairy Queen. Wait, who are you guys? These are the imposters. We know you're not real police because the real police are right here. After this, we're going into the back of the U-Haul again, and we're going to do some real man stuff. This is your invitation to meet us at the back of the U-Haul. Hey, are these real men?
Yes. Well, I actually started my own splinter group because I don't think these guys are quite white enough, actually.
Okay, I don't know.
Wait. Do you also meet in the back of a U-Haul?
In on it. I sort of think that this guy's in on it too, but I don't know what's happening. Can somebody please tell me what is happening? I just can't, like, is this supposed to be funny? Is this supposed to be trolling Patriot Front because they know, like, but he was at J6 too, you know, embedded in. And then, like, he does this whole, like, masculinity thing, acting like he's a straight white male, to try and mock MAGA. So I just don't know. I don't know. Let's go to this one.
As someone who loves teen pregnancy, like all of my pro-life friends, today we are going to pass out these petitions for universal childcare and universal free lunch. They love embryos so much. I know they're going to love children when they're alive too.
Yeah. We're doing a petition right now. It's universal childcare, universal free lunch. We want to show that there's no divide, really, that no matter, even if someone's pro-abortion, anti-abortion, that we all want what's best for children. So we're just looking for signatures for universal childcare and universal free lunch. Are you interested, sir?
No, thank you. No.
Thanks. All right.
We have a petition for universal childcare and universal free lunch.
Yeah, because that's not. I'm sorry. Is this? I'm trying to understand. Is this comedy? Are they trying to do gotchas? Because, like, obviously that's not right. Somebody who's pro-life is not going to sign up for universal childcare. Like, do you not know the issues? Do you not know? Okay, let's go down. Hold on. I just want to let everybody know that you can buy his t-shirt called Eat the Rich. Okay, you can you can support his brand. But we're just trying to make sure that he's funny because it does say he's a comedian and he's going to all these places, but it's actually only on the West Coast. So it looks like tickets are available for, that's only all of March. So San Diego, Phoenix, Denver, Los Angeles, San Francisco. Okay. Let's just go to I'm trying to pick. I mean, it's like when you try and pick the best, it's the worst and hard to say. Let's go to the TikTok videos and see if he's funny. Okay. I don't know if we'll be able to get onto TikTok from here. Wait, guys, wait. I forgot. Okay. So I went onto the TikTok account to see his videos. This one, okay. Oh, man. Listen, we still have to do a little bit of Hag Watch, so we got to get through this. The lighting has really changed, and it's gotten a little chilly. So here we are. Okay. let's stop the screen share there. And then we're going to go to this TikTok here. No. What the heck? What am I missing here with the clicking on it? This is a web browser. Yeah, okay. Okay. Sorry. Oh, it's I see what it is. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so this is from 2024. This is when he's with Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, who we've reviewed multiple times on here. Okay, so he doesn't just stick with just MAGA people. He also interviews Democrats. So let's go to this one.
But if Trump wins,
listen, don't even talk like that.
So Trump is saying that if Kamala wins, it's going to be the Great Depression in 3 days. But if Trump wins,
listen, don't even talk like that. Because here in Pennsylvania, you know what we value? Getting shit done and real freedom. And we know Kamala Harris is the candidate who can get shit done. She's the candidate who's going to protect our freedom. Folks here are fired up. They're ready to go. And we're going to make it happen. What are you doing with that?
got it. So Trump is saying that if
Okay, I don't know. Is that funny? Is this just not funny to me, or what's the problem? I didn't realize that he was running Get Shit Done back in 2024. Oh my God, he's been doing Get Shit Done for how long now? Okay, so was that funny? I'm not. I mean, it's me. I'm just not. Maybe I'm just not. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Let's see. Wait, is this the... Oh. All right. Here's another one of him and Larry Krasner, Philadelphia's district attorney.
A cell phone, it has a camera. You need to video and you need to photograph stuff even before it gets ugly. And then you're making history that they can't erase because they don't control it. B, you're making evidence that can be used in both civil and criminal court. C, I want it because there might be a few federal officers who need to get locked up.
There we go. There we go. It's not illegal to film ICE.
It is not illegal to film police or ICE in Pennsylvania, in the city of Philadelphia, when they are on duty, when they're in public spaces. You should not stick a camera into their private homes. But other than that, whatever is happening on the street, go get it.
Okay. I like that.
Walter Masterson
with
trolls
regards to
America.
dealing with ICE,
Okay.
let's spend a little bit of
Okay. Let's go to the last stand-up that I wanted to show. Oh, so he's saying that he's currently under investigation by the Trump administration because he stormed this temple disrupting for approving ICE funding. So he did the same thing that Don Lemon did. He disrupted a religious ceremony. Oh my God, this can't. I mean, this.
I know you voted to increase ICE funding, so I wanted to get something for you. This is an adult diaper for when you pee yourself in front of Donald Trump. You're the type of leader we need right now. Someone who soils themselves with ashes here at our door. I just would like to say really quick, as a Jewish man, I have never felt safer than when there is a masked Gestapo in the street. Thank you, Congressman Tom Suozzi, for funding ICE. I think the only way I can fight anti-Semitism is by aligning ourselves with white supremacists. I just want to reiterate, nobody could have predicted that ICE...
A lot going on here, huh, guys?
I'm going to read the names of the 9 people that were killed by ICE this month. I'm reading names of people killed by ICE. You're going to touch me? You're going to touch me? Alex Preddy, Renee Good, Keith Porter, Parody Law. These people were killed by ICE this month. 9 people were killed by ICE this month. And you're throwing me out while I'm reading their names? You are funding our occupation.
I mean, they're really cross-pollinating here, aren't they?
9 people were killed by ICE this month. 3 of them were gunned down. 6 of them died while in ICE
You
custody.
can't, I don't think you can go into the religious ceremony, though. I get it. I get all the parts of it, but okay. All right. There's that. So he's got that going on. Here is we're gonna see if this is. I just don't know if this is. I mean, it's supposed to be funny, but I don't know if.
Border Patrol just murdered someone in the streets in Minneapolis. Whatever you're seeing in the media, having been there, it's much worse. They're literally going up to people that are just not white and harassing them and asking for their papers. The only requirement to be harassed is not.
I just don't know why I guess the point of eating with the food, holding the food in their hand is part of the social media. When was that actually? The
Border Patrol just murdered someone in the streets in Minneapolis.
January 24th. Okay.
Whatever you're seeing in the
January 24th. Because we haven't really heard much lately. What is the one I wanted to see? Wait, help save our elections.
to lose the midterms. And we know this because he's ordering red states to redraw their congressional maps ahead of the midterms. If he can steal the midterms, he can steal the presidential election. Virginia lawmakers just passed a constitutional amendment, and now it's headed to voters. This lets Virginia redraw its congressional districts right now, but only if another state redraws its congressional map outside of the census.
Ooh, guys, you know what? He looks like Hunter Biden. That's who it is. He looks like Hunter Biden.
Cycle. This amendment is a temporary one-time thing that lets voters approve the congressional maps before they vote. And again, it's temporary. It expires in 2030 when the next census comes out. You see, states are only supposed to redistrict every 10 years after the census. This stops Trump from rigging the map, and it expires in 2030 after the next census. So if you think Trump is a dictator, go to my profile and sign the petition that supports Virginia and redrawing their congressional maps. And send this to a friend or relative that needs the Virginia referendum explained to them. You see states like Texas, Missouri, Ohio, Utah, Florida, North Carolina, Alabama, all have redistricting laws that are decided by their legislature, their politicians, not a bipartisan commission, definitely not the voters. Whereas Virginia has a bipartisan commission and the voters have to vote on a ballot referendum. So if we want to have elections again, we need to act now. Trump is going to lose the midterms, and we know this because
I mean, I think it's his coat, really. But you're not talking about the content, Nikki, because I'm not fucking debating him. I'm not debating him. I'm so tired of this when we bring up the fact that the proverbial we, the collective we, when I bring up, you know, when you do when you're doing media literacy, or you're like going into who the person is that is giving this information, right? Because you're trying to understand media bias. And because of there's so much content creation that is put out there, and we're trying to have discernment, you know, taking takes at face value, you can do that. I just am not going to just do that. I'm going to go into more where people are coming from, where their body of work comes from, because people, you know, don't just go viral for no reason, and their videos don't just hit your face for no reason. Somebody who is just a bystander or just regular person might go viral for something, or their video might hit your face for a certain reason, or you know, but the information space is an oiled machine relating to, again, the algorithm and who is doing what and for what purpose. So you can take evidence of, you know, what he's saying. I mean, he's saying people are losing their lives, right? So I'm not going to get energized by his emotional activation. I'm going to take what that information into consideration. You know, like, yes, obviously, if we want to go again, and I'm not debating him. So we're talking about him. We're just talking about him as a phenomenon related to a bigger phenomenon, which is the media ecosphere. Okay. So we're not, this isn't me ignoring valid points, right? Or valid criticisms or actual issues that we face. This is about, again, doing the trail of what media messaging is being put out there, and why do people put information out there that is specific, but also, you know, not nuanced, right? And like to a specific demographic, and trying to arise what, but also this is a industry, and this is a business. It's clearly show business. Here, do you guys want to watch this one? You guys like this one?
AIPAC tried to rig the game and wound up electing one of the most anti-AIPAC candidates. Great job, AIPAC. There's a special election in New Jersey's 11th district right now. It's a very blue district. So the Democratic primary, that's the real election. Meet Tom Malinowski. He used to be a congressman. Polls had him as the favorite to win the election. Even Kalshi had him at 90%. He supports Israel. Never called what's happening in Gaza a genocide. He even took a sponsored trip to Israel. So AIPAC should love him, right? Wrong. You see, Tom Malinowski said the United States should condition its aid to Israel and not give Netanyahu a blank check. AIPAC heard this and said, hey, bro, cool it with the anti-Semitism. Then AIPAC and UDP got out the money cannon and put down $2 million in negative ads towards Tom Malinowski. But here's the problem. AIPAC can't say, oh, Tom doesn't support Israel. So they focus their ad campaign on turning him into a fake Democrat. Voters saw these ads and said, wow, he's not a real Democrat. Who else in the race is a real Democrat? Enter Analilia Mejia. She's a progressive candidate who centered her campaign on the cost of living. She's backed by Bernie and AOC. And unlike Malinowski, she doesn't want to condition aid to Israel. She wants an outright ban on sending them offensive weapons. All the local New Jersey papers that said Malinowski was going to win now had to print out retractions. Kalshi has her at 99%. So AIPAC took a candidate that was mildly critical of Benjamin Netanyahu, and they've wound up electing a candidate who is fiercely critical of Israel. Amazing job, AIPAC. Please do this through the midterms and the presidential election. AIPAC tried to rig the game and wound up electing.
We can look at that later. His gloves, really, his mittens, really, for me. So, I mean, this is, you know, is there, like, what is he saying there that is meaningful, and why is that being thrown in here with all this other stuff in here? There's the one video that I wanted to play, the TikTok video. Like, is it funny or not? That's that one. Just bear with me. And then we're going to watch just a little bit of Hag and then wrap it up. Oh, this is one of his old videos. He would be so, he would think that this is, he would be flattered, I think, that we're spending so much time on him. Like the only person that is, this is an old video.
Because I've got my patients ask me, Walter, when the COVID vaccine comes out, are you going to get one? The answer is no. Why? Because I've got my crystal and my essential oils. That's all the protection I need. Thank you very much. And besides, do we really know what's in these vaccines? I'm not putting poison into my body. All right? Wake up, America. My patients ask me, Walter, when the COVID vaccine.
Okay. Okay, we have two more to do, and then we're gonna go to Hag. Okay, here we go. Is this it? Oh, here. This is the one. This is recent. Okay.
Mr. Trump, I voted for you, and then my wife's getting deported. And everyone's like making fun of them and teasing them and FAFO, and I think that's the wrong approach. Thank you. Thank you. I think we need to approach them and offer them some perspective. I say, listen, I know this farm has been in your family for generations, but there are 5 trans volleyball players that won't get to play volleyball this year. Nationwide. Listen, I know you love your wife. I'm sure you probably miss her, but you can now say gay retard at work. I don't know, kind of seems like a small price to pay, really. It's like, listen, you can have your wife back, or you can have 2 trans swimmers. You can't have both. You can't have both. You can't have both. There's a lot of people now.
Okay. I don't know. Is that funny? So, I guess it's obviously a specific demographic, but remember in the Munich conference clip that we shared on the Telegram channel with Hillary Clinton, and she said with that guy from, what is it, Slovakia, saying oh, is it worth, what was she saying? Oh, she was saying, like, what about Ukraine's freedom? She was trying to like act like the trans issue, the trans ideology issue was such a big deal that we sacrificed Ukraine for it. And that's what I'm sort of hearing him say. The point is like because the trans issue was such a big issue for people, that they rather vote for that versus, that they're letting this happen with ICE. And I'm not going to, I would agree that that's how people vote and that's how politics works, is that they have these hot button issues. People have hot button issues that they care about, and that's what they vote on. With, like abortion, abortion hasn't even really come up that much because they were hoping that Trump was going to try and do like a national abortion ban. Remember, they ran on that a lot, saying that there was going to be a national abortion ban if Trump won, which he hasn't talked about that at all. So I think that the trans ideology thing is a really big issue for people. And I don't think, though, that it's not just men in women's sports. It's not just that. It's like a whole bunch of other things. And so it's like, I'm sorry, did MAGA deploy that? Did Trump deploy, all the facets that we see with transgender ideology? Did he deploy all of that? It's like the Democrats are the ones that really instigated that, based on the relationship with their donors. And if you follow the history of transgender care and who funded the, you can look into it. There's, information out there about that. I mean, and we're seeing, obviously, the Trump administration changing course for local, care and hospitals and such, that is sort of slowing down that trajectory. But it is something that people really care about. And it is something that really affects people. It's a hot button topic. It is divisive. And I guess if you want to be generous and say, like, well, I mean, because there's just so many different facets to it. It's just not black and white. There's some content creators out there that definitely do grift, right? And so they're making these issues be really their whole brand and their whole identity and such, and get people really worked up about things. So there is some of that for sure. But to say that it's not an actual issue, and that it's just, for the voting manipulation, I don't think is true. Maybe we do a little too nuanced. Can you do a little too nuanced, So let's just, on that note, let's just go over to the Hag and we'll see what she was up to today. And then we'll call it a night. Let's go to this here. Okay. All right.
So I have to say, and maybe
I love the fact that you're like, what's coming next? It's so funny because we'll be chatting and then you'll be like, I'll say, okay, I'm gonna hit live, and you kind of like back up a little bit, like, oh crap. I don't know what
what's gonna happen. Now that you have an audience, Heather, now what's gonna happen?
That's right. That's gonna happen. So, Dr. Freeman.
Yes.
Do you want to be a good girl?
Oh God. Okay. So I have to say, and maybe everyone else hasn't heard that statement. Until 5 minutes ago, I did not know that Donald Trump said, I just want to be a good boy. I did not say that. I know. I know. Yeah, I'm still in a little bit of a, despite everything that we think about his mental state, that just says so much, doesn't it?
Honestly, there are so many things that have happened that are crazy, and we should talk about that. But when he said at that press conference yesterday that he hadn't put high tariffs as high as he wanted on people because he knew it would sway, or he had to put pressure on the courts over the tariffs because I want to be a good boy. I was like,
and well, so here's part of my immediate response to that, since I am still sifting through this information that I got 5 minutes ago. If I said, I was going to do this, Heather, but I want to be a good girl. Right. It would be the most belittling, self-deprecating. So the fact that he said that, number one, we could talk about his mental state, but number two, that he didn't even think that would have a negative impact on what people think about him, because he just assumes everybody loves him and he's good and he could.
I don't know. There's also serious daddy issues there.
Well, I was not going to say that.
I'm sorry, I'm really creeped out by it. I'm really creeped out. But can you think of anything like that from a president? I mean, you think about how much trouble Nixon got into with, you won't have Dick Nixon to kick around anymore.
Right.
Or LBJ and his scar from his whatever it was. I mean, you think about them doing stuff that's outside normal range. I cannot think of a president going, I want to be a good boy.
I'm sorry.
No.
I mean,
it just makes your skin crawl.
Biden.
Well, it does make your skin crawl. But it also just, some internal part of me is like, what the fuck?
Up. Up.
What?
Word.
I'm surprised. Well, yeah, I haven't been super tuned into the news in the last couple of days, so I guess I missed that. I'm surprised I missed that because that would have caught my attention. Yeah, but it just, in addition to raising questions about his mental state, it really does, to me, highlight the degree to which he thinks he's invincible. And
are they talking about
Iran?
Iran?
Doesn't matter what he says at this point. He's going to say what he.
I don't know if maybe we go to the transcript. Are they going to talk about Iran? Probably not.
You just said. So what he is saying is, not only is he not in charge.
Why is she drinking so much coffee? Like, why is she drinking so much?
If he's trying to be a good boy.
Well, but that.
All right, let's forward ahead.
No. So the degree to which, well, you tell me. Maybe it's wishful thinking that at some point down the road, after this moment, there's no coming back for the Republican Party, because now this is their brand. Because at this point, if they haven't stood up and said something, they're beyond repair. Like we're so.
Okay. So I'm going to just read something. that I was putting together relating to some of the concerns relating to the Democrat Party messaging. Let me see if I can go back to it. Oh, here. So I think this is what has sort of bugged me about the messaging that we're seeing. Is that there's been just a lot of gaslighting about what people have gone through. And I suppose that has the things that have been going on with ICE, has it created enough trauma for people personally? You know, there's a difference between just thinking that you see what's going on in the world, what you think, and experiencing things personally. And just again, with all the things that people did, people, for not getting the COVID vaccine, and now the information that has come out about it, that people were trying to say about it, but now it's, it was again censored, and people are just things are moving in that direction of where there's more exposure. And, people are going to, that weren't affected, or they were affected in their own way. Like mentally, I'm not sure where people go from there, right? We talk about the cognitive dissonance and, where people go from there, depending upon your own personal experience. Like, did you experience that time as like, have to wear your mask to protect and everything, and, getting all the vaccines and stuff, where are people as far as being able to reflect on that, because everything is so politicized. Everything is so politicized right now. And it has been that way, but it's like Democrats' messaging will be like, we want to bring people together, but then they also, though, participate in the divisiveness. So it's like, yeah, politics is divisive, but, why say then that you want to bring people together, but then actively participate in all these other ways to, divide. And when I was thinking about this character, this guy that we were just watching, and I was thinking about how the comedy, is, are you doing it on behalf of the establishment? Or are you speaking truth to power? And, and then going back to like, again, trying to do gotchas on MAGA, pulling up old videos and stuff. And I think that, in 2020, MAGA wasn't the establishment. And we've seen the evolution of, the movement, and also, again, the voter blocks, and still this fight, this political fight. Because like I said, you're still seeing the Seditious Six, and you're seeing Newsom, and you're seeing them try to do this, Project 2029, where they're trying to say, like, we're just going to, once we're back in power, we're going to the Ukraine war is going to be back on, and so it's all these things to really take into consideration. But in 2020, MAGA wasn't the establishment. And it, if you were trying to troll people at medical freedom protests or anything back then, you didn't need to be doing that to get your message out, because legacy media was already doing that. X was already censoring people. And so again, and what happened with January 6th and threatening people for their political beliefs, and putting people on no-fly lists. The persecution, or what Tulsi Gabbard said that she had gone through, being investigated. Just American citizens being investigated. And we're seeing some of that now, with them, with media messaging being like, well, if you say things about ICE, then you're going to be targeted, or if you say negative things, there's just a lot of, and I don't even know, they're trying to scare people to do that. They're trying to scare people. So I just wonder if that is encouraging any sort of trauma and fear that could be relative to the trauma and fear that people felt over the last number of years during the Biden administration. But then we also see that with, speaking out against Israel, right? Or speaking out against the government of Israel, right? Speaking out, about, and just this whole back and forth with the wars, and just, the alliances, and who's going to do what, and who's on whose team. And there's just so much to consider. And, where people's, it's just curious where people's heads are at, right? Where regular people are. And so we spent some time looking at, where is the messaging, and what are people saying, and I think that I was just trying to pull up this little thing here that I was going to share, that back in 2020, legacy media, big tech, corporate America, most academic institutions, and much of the entertainment industry, they were already aligned against Trump and his supporters. So we didn't need this guy, as much as I think, maybe like Liberty Hangout, I don't know, like is needed to participate in the information war, I guess, because legacy media had such a handle on people, and they were already doing so much anti-Trump messaging. Twitter was actively suppressing conservatives' voices. As the Twitter files later revealed, Facebook was throttling certain content. CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times were running wall-to-wall anti-Trump coverage. So Walter wasn't speaking truth to power. He was piling on with the most powerful cultural institutions in the country, already doing the same thing louder. That's the opposite of what good satire is supposed to do. The best political satire historically has punched up at power, not down, at people who were already being marginalized and censored by powerful institutions. Trump's entire political identity in 2020 was built on being the outsider fighting entrenched institutional power. Whether you agree with that framing or not, a significant portion of the country genuinely experienced that way and had real evidence to point to with censorship, media bias, and institutional hostility. So Walter's mockery wasn't just tone deaf, it was functionally siding with the most powerful cultural forces in the country against people who felt genuinely disenfranchised, which makes him the later unity rhetoric from Democrats even harder to take seriously. It's actually a pretty, the sad irony is that the tools to figure out why were always available. The grievances weren't hidden and were being expressed loudly and clearly by millions of people. You don't need sophisticated polling or focus groups to understand that people in de-industrialized towns were angry, that small business owners resented lockdown policies, that parents were upset about school closures, that working class people across racial lines felt culturally dismissed. Instead, the response from a significant part of the left-leaning cultural apparatus was to produce more content like Walter's, essentially doubling down on the diagnosis that the problem was those people's ignorance or bigotry rather than genuine policy failures and cultural condensation. We mispronounce words around here. It's like the basket of deplorables. It's that these needs were not taken seriously, and the needs of working class Americans was not taken seriously. And so what we see is, again, just this doubling down by Democrats who say that they are for the people, who are doing this divide and conquer still, who are trying to stop everything that, anything good that Trump is doing, not being honest about it. Just continuing with the divide, I guess. And when Elon Musk bought Twitter and the censorship apparatus became visible to everyone, it didn't create the backlash Democrats expected. It actually validated everything MAGA had been saying about institutional bias for years. There was a massive unforced error in terms of narrative. The Democrat Party is now in a position where it has lost the working class, lost significant ground with minority voters, lost the populist energy, and is still trying to figure out if the problem is messaging or substance. Well, the answer is probably both, wrapped inside a deeper problem of a party that became more comfortable with cultural institutions than with the people it used to represent. Yeah, so, and I guess that's what we see too with these two. So, I cannot do this anymore with them, with these two. So we will, and we've really done a lot of the show here. So this is a very, some at times painful, and also too, sorry about the visual here. We went from beautiful sunlight to all of this. So, yeah. Yes, painful as it may. I think we did it. So, thank you for joining me tonight. If you're watching this on the replay, please like and subscribe. Check us out on Rumble too, and X, and catch you next time.